The fox's greedy plan backfires in forest. In a lush green forest filled with tall trees and chirping birds, there lived a clever but greedy fox named Rollo. Rollo always wanted more than he needed. Instead of working hard, he spent days thinking cunning ways to trick other animals and their take food. One sunny morning, Rollo was wandering through the forest when he saw a group of animals sharing fruits and nuts near a large mango tree. Jumbo the elephant, Mitu the parrot, Chiku the squirrel, Tinku the rabbit, they were enjoying the meal together. Rollo's mouth watered at the sight of delicious fruits. If only I could have all the foods for myself, he thought. I will trick them to give it to. Came up with a sneaky plan and approached the group of friendly smiles. Good morning, friends, Rollo said. What a lovely feast you are having. Me too, and the parrot replied cheerfully. Good morning, Rollo. Would you like to join us? There's plenty for everyone. Rollo pretended to look sad. Oh, thank you, me too. But I have just heard trouble. What? There is a trouble inside deep hidden forest. But it's dangerous place. I thought of you because you are so brave and clever. If you will find it, you will have enough food to for last line. And the animals looked at each other and curious. A treasure, Chiku said. Yes, Rollo continued, but it's guarded by a tricky puzzle. If you solve it, the treasure is yours. I'll go myself, but I'm not brave as you all, Jumbo, being the leader, said. We are happy with what we have, but if the treasure can help the forest, we will try to find it. Where it is, Rollo? Rollo smiled. Follow me, I'll take you there. Rollo led the group to clearing a large boulder of pointed hollow tree nearby. The treasure inside that tree, he said. But you must solve the puzzle to get it. The puzzle is, who is the kindest and the most deserving animal in the forest? Only they can open the tree and steal treasure. The animal began discussing who might be the kindest. Meanwhile, Rollo sat back waiting for them to leave food and unguarded. His plan was simple. While they were distracted by the puzzle, he would sneak back and steal all the food. But Mitu noticed Rollo's sly grin. He whispered to Jumbo, I think it's Rollo up to something. Let's keep an eye on him. Jumbo nodded. It's pretending we are solving the puzzles, but let's see what he do. The animals pretended to be busy discussing the puzzle. Meanwhile, Rollo slowly crept away, bending back towards the mango tree, and food was left. As soon as Rollo reached the tree, grabbed the mango, Mitu and the birds swooped down from the branches, flapping their wings, chirped loudly. Caught you, Rollo, Mitu said. Rollo started dropping the mango. I was just checking if the food was safe, he stammered. But then Jumbo and the other animals arrived. Jumbo said sternly, Rollo, we trusted you, but it seems you were only lying to trick us from our stealing food. Rollo hung his head with shame. I'm sorry, he stumbled. Mitu said, Rollo, the greed doesn't mean the happiness, sharing, working together do, Jumbo added. The forest is our home. We must look for each other. Rollo felt truly sorry. You are all right. I let my greed get better for me. I promise to change for a better friend. The animals forgave Rollo and invited him to share the meal with them. From that day on, Rollo worked hard to help others and became a trusted friend in the forest. The story of Rollo's greed, plan, and how it backfired became a tale of the parents to young ones in the forest. As Rollo learned about the true happiness comes from being the part of caring and uniting community, he not taking the more than you need. The moral of the story is, kids, greed and dishonesty can lead to trouble, but kindness and sharing and honesty create happiness and friendship. So kids, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.
The Generous Hen and the Selfish Duck. Once upon a time, in a small farm near a peaceful village, there lived a kind hen named Henny and a proud duck named Dobby. Henny was generous hen who loved to help others. She shared foods, helped other farmers to collect grains, and always cared for her fellow animal. Dobby, on the other hand, was selfish duck. He only thought about himself and never shared anything to anyone. He loved to show off his beautiful feathers and always looked down on the others. Henny and Dobby lived near each other, but they were different in nature. Every morning, Henny woke up early and helped the farmer's wife to collect grains from the barn. She always looked only what she needed and left home for other animals. One day, little sparrow came flying to her. Henny, my babies are hungry. I cannot find enough food. Can you help me? Henny smiled warmly. Of course. Take some of my grains. she said, and shared her food happily. The sparrow thanked her and flew away with joy. Dobby, who was watching, laughing, "Why do you share your food, Henny? You should keep everything to yourself," he said. Henny shook her head. "When we help others, happiness comes back to us," she replied. Dobby did not believe her and continued to live for himself. One summer, a terrible drought hit the farm. The land dried and the river shrank. The farmer struggled to grow crops and food became scarce. Henny, who always helped leave a little extra grain, still had enough food, but Dobby had not saved anything because he only thought about himself. One evening, Dobby felt hungry. He searched food everywhere, but there was none. He was Henny eating her grains and walked up to her. "Henny, I am very hungry. Can you please share some food with me?" Dobby asked. Henny looked at him kindly. "Of course, Dobby. Here are some grains," she said and gave it to him. Dobby was surprised. "Even after I have taught you and laughed at you, are you still helping me?" Henny smiled. "Kindness is for everyone, Dobby. When we help others, we spread happiness." Dobby felt ashamed and selfishness. "I was wrong, Henny. I should have spared and helped others like you. From now on, I will not be selfish," he promised. When the rainy season returned, the farmer became green again. Dobby started sharing his food with others. And others day, Dobby and Honey became best of friends, spreading kindness together. The moral of the story is, kids, sharing and kindness makes the world a better place, while selfishness leads to loneliness. I hope this story you will surely like it, kids. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.
How the birds and the elephants saved the forest together. Deep in the lush green forest, where trees were tall and the rivers sparkled like diamond, lived a gentle elephant named Emlo. Emlo was the biggest animal in the forest, but he had a kind heart and loved all the creatures around him. Birds of all kinds, sparrow, parrots, crow, and pigeons, flocked to Emlo's whenever they needed help, for he was their trusted friend. One fine morning, as the sun shined brightly, the forest animals were enjoying their day. The birds were chirping happily, and the Emlo was splashing water all himself on the riverbank. Suddenly, a loud rumble shook the forest. Trees started to fall, and the animals scattered in fear. "What's happening?" cried Polly the parrot, flapping her colorful wings. Emlo looked around and saw humans cutting down trees with big machines. "It's the woodcutter," Emlo said, his voice trembling with worry. "They are destroying our forest." The bird flew up high to see what was going on. Polly returned and said, "They are chopping our trees down to take the wood. If this continues, we will lose our home." Emlo's heart sank. The forest was not just his home, it was all the home to animals, big and small. He couldn't let to be destroyed. "We must stop them," Emlo said. "But I can't do it alone. We need to work together." Polly nodded. "Yes, we birds can help from sky, but you, Emlo, are strong. Together we can save the forest." The birds and Emlo quickly gathered to the forest for a meeting. Squeaky the squirrel, Chattered the monkey, and even the Rocky the rabbit joined. Polly explained the problem. "If the trees are cut down, none of us will have this place to live in. We need a plan to protect our home." Squeaky piped up. "We can use the fallen leaves and branches to block the path of the machines," Chattered added. "We can throw fruits at humans to scare them away." Emlo thought for a moment and said, "These are good ideas, but we need something bigger. The humans are strong and they have machines. We must outsmart them." Polly had an idea. "We birds can fly about the machines and distract the humans while Emlo and the other animals block their path. If we work together, we can stop them." The animals agreed quickly and got to work. Polly and her bird friends flew high above the machines and chirped loudly, flapped their wings, and swooped down, making the woodcutters look up in surprise. "What's the commotion?" one of the men shouted. While the humans distracted, Emlo on the other hand dragged a large fallen branches and leaves onto the path of the machines, blocking their way. chattered the monkey, swaying from the tree to tree, throwing fruits at the woodcutter. Squeaky squirrel squeaked around, and gathering the nuts and leaves to create more obstacle. The woodcutter were confused and frustrated. What's going on? Why are these animals causing trouble? One of them yelled. Amlo, using his strength, pushed over a big rock to block the road. The machines couldn't move any further. The birds cheered. Well done, Amlo. But the humans were determined. We will come back tomorrow with more machines. When they said as they packed up their tools and left, Polly looked worried. We stopped them today, but we'll never return. What we can do to make sure they are come back? Amlo had an idea. We need to show humans that forest is not just a place of living, but it's also home for us. They should understand the importance and they might leave us alone. The next day, the animal prepared for a big surprise. Polly and her bird friends collected shiny feathers and colorful flowers to decorate the forest. Chattered Monkey and the Squeaky Squirrel arranged the fruits and nuts for the beautiful patterns. Amlo used his trunk to water the plants and making flowers bloom brightly. When the woodcutters returned, they were amazed. The forest looked magical and the birds singing melodious tunes and happy animals are singing the song. One of the men said, "This forest is so beautiful. It's full of life. How we can destroy it?" Another man nodded. "Yes, you are right. We should protect this place instead of cutting it down." The leader of the woodcutters stepped forward and said, "We didn't realize how much this forest means to the animals. We will leave it untouched and find another way to get wood without harming the animals." The animals cheered loudly. Polly flew down to Emlo and said, "We did it! The forest is safe!" Emlo smiled and said, "We will save it because we work together. Teamwork and kindness can solve any problem." From that day on, the forest remained a place and safe home for all the animals. The moral of the story is, kids, teamwork and unity can overcome even the biggest challenges. Protecting nature, everyone's responsibility, and together we can make a difference. So kids, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.
The bear's honey problem. In a lush green forest where tall trees swayed in wind and all the birds sang happily, there lived a bear named Benny. Benny was gentle and a friendly bear, but he had no one weakness. He absolutely loved honey. The golden sweet honey was his favorite treat. He could never get enough of it. Benny had a close friend named Harry, a wise old owl who often gave him advice. "Benny," Harry would say, "you must be careful not to eat too much honey. It's delicious, but you need to have some of for later and other animals." Benny would not, but the moment he saw honey comb dripping with the fresh honey, he would forget Harry's words. One sunny day, Benny was wandering through the forest when he noticed a honeycomb hanging from the tree. It was filled with golden honey shining in the sunlight. Benny's mouth watered and he couldn't resist the temptation. "Oh, it was delicious," Benny said, licking his paws happily. As he was finishing the honey, he heard a soft buzzing sound. He looked up and saw a group of bees flying towards him. Their faces were filled with worry. "Benny," one of the busy birds said, "that honeycomb was for all of us. We worked hard to collect that honey. Now it's all gone." Benny felt a pang of guilt but quickly brushed it off. "I didn't mean to take it all," he said, trying to sound innocent. "I was just so hungry." The bees looked disappointed but flew away, deciding to work on another honeycomb. Benny, however, didn't feel completely right. The next day, as Benny was strolling through the forest, he noticed another honeycomb. This time, near the base of an old tree, he could see the golden honey oozing out. And once again, he couldn't resist. But this time, just as he reached for honey, he remembered the bees' sad faces, Harry's words about sharing. "I don't want to upset anyone," Benny thought, but the smell of honey was too tempting, and he convinced himself it would be all right to take just a little piece of honey. So Benny scooped a big handful of honey and ate quickly. As he walked away, his stomach was full. He heard a buzzing bee sound behind him. Benny The bees called out, looking more even disappointed. You have taken our honey again. We worked so hard to collect it. Benny tried to avoid their gaze, feeling his face hot with shame. I just took a little, Benny said with a low voice. But even he spoke, and he realized that hadn't been truthful himself for bees. The bees looked at him and with sad eyes. Benny, we know you love honey. You have taken more than you share. You need to be honest and think of others too. Benny felt troubled. He understood now that his actions were not fair to the bees, who had worked so hard to make the honey. Feeling ashamed, Benny decided to visit Harry, hoping his friend would help him and make everything right. What should I do, Harry? Benny asked, with filled of regret. You need to apologize to the bees, Harry replied. Tell them the truth and show them that you can change. Benny nodded and realizing that honesty and kindness were the two ways to fix their mistake. Benny felt lightweight off his shoulder when he confessed. Next morning, Benny wanted to see the bees. The bees looked at each other and back and Benny and said, It's okay, we forgive you, Benny. We know how much you love honey, but it doesn't mean that you ate everything. The bees buzzed with excitement and grateful for Benny to others' help. As Benny worked and felt a sense of joy of satisfaction, days passed and Benny kept his promise. He would still enjoy honey for time to time. One day, as Benny was resting by the hive, the bees surprised him with a special treat, a small amount of honeycomb made it just for him. Thank you, Benny, they said, for being honest, for helping us, and for sharing. Benny felt a warm glow in his heart. He accepted their gift. He realized that honesty, kindness, and sharing brought him closer to his friend that any amount of honey could ever good. So kids, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.
Hello kids, welcome back to my channel PR Kids. Today I have got you a very interesting and moral story. The title of the story is The Wise Grandmother's Story. In a small peaceful village, there lived a kind and a wise grandmother named Granny Rose. She was loved by everyone, especially by her grandchildren Tom and Lily. Granny Rose, her silver hair, warm brown eyes, and a gentle smile. She always told wonderful stories that taught important lessons about life, love, and family. One evening, as golden sun set behind the hills, Tom and Lily ran to their grandmother's house, eager for another story. Granny, please tell us another story, Lily said excitedly. Yes, a story about something important, Tom added. Granny Rose smiled and said, Alright, my dears, today I will tell you a story about a golden thread, that true meaning of family. Tom and Lily sat close, listening carefully as Granny Rose began her tale. Long ago, in a faraway village, there lived a boy named Leo. Leo was clever but impatient. He always wanted new toys, more sweets, exciting adventure, but he never valued the simple life of joys, loving his family, warm meals, and his grandfather's story. One day, while playing in the forest, Leo met an old woman sitting under a tree. She had a kind face and sparkling eyes. You seem to be restless, little one, she said. Leo sighed, and then she said gently. The old woman smiled and held out a shiny golden thread. Take this, Leo. This is a magical thread. Whenever you feel bored or unhappy, pull it gently and the time will move forward. But be careful, once time passes, it can never come back. Leo's eyes lit up with excitement. A magic thread? That's amazing! That evening, Leo was impatient during dinner. He wanted to grow up fast, do exciting things, so he pulled out the golden thread slightly. Whoosh! Suddenly, Leo was no longer a little boy. He was a teenager. He was taller, stronger, and had many new things. At first, he was happy, but soon he became impatient again. School was boring. He wanted to be an adult. So he pulled the thread again. Whoosh! Now he has grown into a man and job and a family. But sometimes he felt stranger. He had missed his childhood, his school days, and his time with his parents. He realized that life has passed too quickly. Feeling regret, Leo ran back to the forest and called out, Old woman, please help me. The old woman appeared with a sad smile. Did you learn the lesson, Leo? Leo nodded. Yes, I should have enjoyed every moment instead of rushing my through life. The old woman touched his head, and instead, Leo was young boy again. He ran out home and he hugged his parents, grateful for every moment. Granny Rose finished her story and looked at Tom and Lily. So, my dear children, the lesson is to do not rush through life. Enjoy every moment, cherish your family, and be grateful for what you have. Time once lost never come back. Tom and Lily thought for a moment and hugged their grandmother. Thank you, Granny. We will always remember this lesson. That night, as they went to bed, they smiled, knowing that every day with their family was a gift to treasure. The moral of the story is enjoy every moment in life, cherish your family, and never take time for granted. So, kids, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.
The Fox and the Birds, a tale of wisdom and deceit. In a vibrant green forest filled with tall trees and melodious bird songs, there lived a clever fox named Rollo. Rollo was known for his cunning tricks and love for easy food. He often tricked other animals to get what he wanted. High in branches of tall trees in the forest lived a flock of birds led by a wise parrot named Mitu. Mitu was admired for his intelligence and calm nature. The bird relied on him whatever they faced problem. One sunny morning, Rollo looked up at the tree and saw the flock of birds chirping happily as they ate ripe berries. His mouth watered. If I only could have tricked those birds into giving me their food, he thought. Rollo sat under the tree and called out, Good morning, dear birds. You look so happy up there. What a beautiful day it is. Me too, sitting on a branch, looked down slowly and politely. Good morning, Rollo. How we can help you today? Rollo grinned slyly and said, I was just admiring your lovely tree, but I must warn you, I heard a rumor that a woodcutter is coming to chop it down. You should all fly away before it's too late. The birds gasped in fear. A woodcutter? A sparrow squeaked. Me too, however, noticed the cunning smile on Rollo's face and sensed something was not right. Thank you for warning, Rollo, Mitu said calmly. But are you sure about this? We haven't seen or heard any signs of woodcutter. Rollo nodded. Oh, I'm sure I saw him with my own eyes. If you don't believe me, it's your loss. But I suggest you should leave quickly. Maybe you could leave at your food behind for safety. Mitu realized Rollo's true intentions. He is trying to scare us away, so he had to take our food. Mitu whispered to the sparrows. Mitu decided to teach Rollo a lesson. Thank you for your concern, Rollo, Mitu said. But we are birds. We never leave our tree unguarded. Why don't you stay protect for us? If the woodcutter comes, you scare him away. Rollo hesitated. This wasn't the part of plan. Protect the tree? Me? Mitu nodded. Yes. After all, you care about us, our safety, don't you? We will reward you with some berries in return. Rollo greeted for some berries, reluctantly agreed. All right, I'll guide your tree. But thinking an easy task, the birds prevented to leave, flying a nearby tree and watching Rollo. As soon as the bird were sight out, Rollo started eating the leftover berries. But Mitu had a plan. He called a group of crows and told them to squeak loudly and circle around the tree. Maybe Rollo think the woodcutter is here. The crow began cawing loudly and flying in the circle around the tree. Rollo panicked. The woodcutters must be here, he cried. In his panic, Rollo ran away, leaving the tree and berries behind. The birds returned to their tree, laughing how quickly Rollo fell. And Mitu said, Let's call Rollo back and explain why deceit never works. Later, Rollo returned to the tree, looking embarrassed. I thought the woodcutter had came, he said sharply. Mitu replied, There was no woodcutter, Rollo. We tricked you to show how it feels to be deceived. You tried to scare us away from our food, but
Decide never makes success. Rollo hung his head. I'm sorry, I was greedy and tried to trick you. I have learned my lesson. Mitu smiled kindly. Apology accepted, Rollo. Remember, honesty and kindness are far more rewarding than deceit. If you ever need food, just ask us. We are happy to share. From that day on, Rollo stopped tricking others and became a more honest and kind hearted fox. The animals in the forest welcomed him as a friend, and he learned that wisdom and kindness were the best quality to have. The moral of the story is, kids, decide may seem like an easy path, but it always leads to trouble. Honesty and kindness bring true rewards and lasting friendship. So, kids, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.